Hey everybody, welcome back to Plugin Tut. As always, I'm your host Matt, and as always, this is your home for handcrafted WordPress plugin tutorials. We're back in action. Really appreciate everybody who subscribes to the channel, everybody who's been following us for quite some time now. We're taking a look at another plugin today. This one's called PublishPress. Randomly came across my Twitter feed, and I've been dying to find a content publishing workflow plugin for quite some time now. If that sounds super complex, what is that? If you have a staff of writers, or let's say you're an internet content marketer, right? And you're blogging for a bunch of people, or you have a whole bunch of writers maybe at your organization, or you just manage content and blog publishing at the company that you work for, a plugin like PublishPress will allow you to see things from like a calendar view. It'll allow you to see things from a category view. It'll allow you to sort of delegate certain tasks that it takes to create a blog post or a newsfeed, whatever it is that you're doing. For years, it's the de facto was EditFlow, which is this plugin that's owned by Automatic. There hasn't been much traction in or innovation in it in quite some time. And sort of something that's a sorely needed plugin in the space. Recently, as you can see here in the article, this came out in March 14, 2017. So we're at the tail end of April 2017. So, just over a month. This looks like a very promising plugin. There's a free plugin on the repo, which we're going to take a look at, and they've got some planned premium add-ons here. This is not a sponsored video. I just really enjoy finding solid plugins like this. Slack integration. Pre-publishing checklists, right? That's really cool. Like you can't publish this until all of these things are checked off. That's really awesome. Just to name a few of the add-ons that they'll have. Let's dive into looking at this plugin in action on a WordPress site. Installed it on my plugintut.com site, which sadly hasn't had a blog post in over a month. And I really got to get back on the bandwagon of that. I'm going to show you two of the key components of this plugin. The calendar view and the overview view of how you can sort of see your content from a top-down approach. Installing this plugin wasn't anything of a major feat. You search for PublishPress in the WordPress repo, you hit install, you hit activate, and you're up and running to the races. Now, what it does do is it creates some new publishing statuses, which we'll take a look at in a moment. First, let's take a look at the calendar view just so you can get an idea from it. If you're the publisher or the person in charge of creating content and sort of managing your writers and your content, this calendar view is amazing. So calendar view is for current and future, right? So we want to take a look at the current week of what we're in, and then we can forecast into the future. So for example, I have a WordPress meetup on May 9th, so maybe I'll blog about that or something, right? These are all theoretical stuff. I can just click on Tuesday, May 9th, a little modal pops up, says enter the title. So I could say South Coast, or I'll just say WordPress Meetup. Boom, hit create, done. What it does is it creates a draft. It puts this in a pitch status, right? And that's what the first level of status is for the PublishPress. It's not draft, it's pitch. Like this is just an idea. So editors and writers can look at this stuff, and publishers can look at this stuff and say, that's a great concept, right? Matt wants to write about WordPress meetups on March 9th. Let's go ahead and approve it. What I can do is I can say, if May 9th isn't the day that we want to do it, I changed my mind. I don't want May 9th. I really want to do it on May 12th. I can grab this title and bring it over to May 12th. It's now in the back end, redirecting it to that time frame and saying on May 12th, we're going to have an article about the WordPress meetup. One thing it doesn't do, might be just a small little bug in the software right now. I see the little edit icon. I'm assuming I can click that to edit it, and I can't. I'm sure this is a bug that will be fixed in the near future. But really cool. You can go out, you can fill out your calendar, you get these ideas that you want to write about, you can set that up. And then right up here in the top right-hand corner, you can see that I can subscribe to this calendar through iCal or through Google Calendar. My mind is blown, right? Like I think that's amazing because again, if you're collaborating with teams, something like this just opens up the ease of use, and just like I'm not having to check WordPress and log in and see what these ideas or these pitches are. It'll go right to my calendar, and I can see where this whole thing is set up. Really cool. Let's go to the content overview before I go into that post. Content overview will give you a list of all of your content and its published state by category. So example here, I could see how many posts do I have in the e-commerce category. And you can see right here, these are all the ones that are published and when they were published, who published them, all that fun stuff. So again, as an editor or publisher, you can look at this and get that bird's eye view and say, you know, boy, we only have one article about Jetpack, you know, in this instance right here. You can see right here, it says getting started with WordPress Calypso in this date range, by the way, because I know I have more Jetpack articles than that. So right up here, I set the date. So that was January 2017, showing 90 days worth of data, right, from that date. So you can kind of play with those date ranges and see, you know, the types of content that's being published. And then again, filter it down. You can filter by status. How many do we have in pitch in these categories? How many are actually already published or unpublished? And who has published this content across categories? Really helps you brainstorm, really helps you keep organized and keep that content pipeline going. Let's go into that post that I created. And that was the WordPress meetup post. We'll see it right here, right on top of the deck right here. WordPress meetup, and you can see the status is pitch. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that. And let's take a look at a few things that this plugin introduces to the post editor. So, and I've just realized that my recorder has been on top of this for through this whole video. We're professionals here. So let's get that out of the way. Let's take a look at the publishing status drop down now. So you can see right here we have pitch, assigned, in progress, draft, and then pending review. And that's what you have to select from. I'm also going to show you how you can edit that later on. But you can also, but the point is you can sort of change this stuff now within multiple sort of statuses. So that's really helpful. Right over here in the metadata section, what you can do is you can assign these certain milestones, if you will, that a post should have before maybe, let's say, it gets to publish. So right here, you see first draft date. You can send, okay, or we set this up for May 12th, but the first draft should be done by, I don't know, May 17th, right? And then you could say who, what the post needs to cover. So what is the assignment here? Well, we're going to talk about WordPress meetups. And the idea is, yes, we're going to need photos, so make sure that gets, and we want a word count of at least, let's say, 1,000. The idea here is these are just sort of little milestones or guidelines to whoever this article gets assigned to. Speaking of, moving over to the left, what you can see here is on the notifications, what we can say is who needs to get notified for this particular post. I can select from any one of my users. If I have my users in a group, I can select an entire group or just multiple groups that need to be sort of notified of updates. Within that, right, we can then collaborate by responding to this post. So if I click on respond to this post, I can say, this is a great idea. Let's make it happen. And I will go ahead and hit submit response. And what we'll see is my avatar shows up, my message shows up, and whoever this gets assigned to or whoever is collaborating on this, multiple users or multiple groups or whatever, they can just continue to have this collaboration back and forth and they'll be getting notified as that happens, as I sort of make editorial comments or the status changes. So if the status changes to in progress, then people will get notified and people we'll get the email and the notification to sort of say, hey, check on that blog post. This is great for so many different contexts of creating content. But let's say you're a ghostwriter or something like that, or you're creating content for that wasn't meant to get published. Let's say you're a ghostwriter or something like that, and you are creating guest posts for somebody. You can assign, let's say, the owner of the company to get notified as you update content, just to make sure that before this thing goes out, they're getting notified so that they can review it, that kind of thing. A super handy tool, and I'm really excited to see where it goes in terms of the future add-ons. Let's just take a look at the settings really quick. I'm going to click on PublishPress, going to wait for that to load. And then we'll go to the general settings. And you can see here that it's fairly straightforward, right? I mean, what we're saying is here is how to post or what kind of post types get notifications. Always notify the blog admin. We can enable or disable that. Do we want these widgets being loaded? Editorial comments, yes or no? And if so, which post types get that? Which post types get features, that kind of thing. The calendar view. What kind of content can we create on that calendar view? Is it posts, pages? And I don't know if it works with custom post types. I think I have a custom post type in here somewhere. Maybe not. But custom post types might be a thing that they add on in the future. This is where it gets really powerful, and that's the that metadata. So you saw before that we were saying like, hey, assign me a first draft date. Who gets assigned to this? Doesn't need a photo, but you could add in your own metadata here. So if you have your own unique customization thing, like I don't know, you're an architectural company and you publish blog posts about case studies or whatever, and you have images of blueprints. You could come in here and create a milestone or what they call is metadata. Say, don't forget to how many blueprints need to be on this post, right? You can assign these custom things. That's awesome. And statuses, same thing. You want to come up with your own status, needs to be reviewed by Matt, right? You create that as a status, and you can then move that blog post within these different statuses and create as many as you want. And then lastly, the user groups looks really cool as well. You can assign these users and push them into any amount of groups that you want to be notified. Again, just for creating that workflow that might be custom to either your customer or your own organization. It's PublishPress. You can read all about it at pressshack.com. I almost said presshack.com, but that's pressshack.com. The plugin's called PublishPress. You can find it in the WordPress repo. Again, it's fairly brand new. I think when I installed this, it had 90 active installs. Check it out. Looks very, very promising, and those premium add-ons are coming soon. If you like videos like this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy WordPress tutorials, if you like the stuff that I'm putting out here on this channel, go ahead and subscribe to Plugin Tut. It's youtube.com/plugintut, plugintut.com. We'll see you in the next video.